I am pleading with the Golden State Warriors. I am pleading with Mike Dunleavy to just fix this now, because there is something real. There is something legit in Pat Spencer and DeAnthony Melton and a handful of guys out here on this team. You see signs of a truly great roster, and there are legit players that are going to be available via trade ahead of this year's trade deadline. And the Warriors have stood fat time after time after time, and it is frustrating. It's got me stumbling on my words to start this thing off, but last night, you see the holes that are out here on this team, the holes that are out here on this roster, especially with how guys are played. I know guys like Podziemski are just absolutely aggravating the heck out of me and a ton of the fan base, and I know we're all reactionary and stuff, but time after time, I'm not saying Podziemski is a guy that is the worst player on planet Earth, but he is given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and there's so many guards out here on this roster. There's so many guards out here on this team. You have a guy like Jonathan Kuminga, who again I think is super talented, but isn't going to fit out here on this team right now. Personality clash and Steve Kerr not put him in the right positions, whatever it is, it's not going to work. And you have guys out here on this team where it will work, where things will get good. I mean, Pat Spencer's coming in the past couple of games and earning his opportunity, earning his spot, and it's gotten to the point where Steve Kerr has come out and said directly that, in this post-game of this game, Steve Kerr said it'd be nice to get him on the roster fully. He was used in 23 of his 50 games in his two-way contract, and the Warriors roster's full at 15, and they have the right up against the second apron, but deadline can shake things up and free up roster spots. But Pat Spencer tonight, once again, is proving why he is deserved to not just be in the team's roster, but legitimately in the rotation for this squad. 24 minutes, 16 points, 5 of 8 shooting from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line, and is just making the players around him better. And with this roster balance, with this group that we have here right now, so many guys playing the same position, right? Cryer at 6 foot. Seth Curry at 6'1", Melton at 6'2", GP2 at 6'2", Spencer at 6'3", Curry at 6'3", Podziemski at 6'4", Buddy Hield at 6'4", Will Richard at 6'4", and Moses Moody at 6'5". There's so many guys that it almost feels redundant to have all these dudes out here on the roster, and much less, because we can criticize Steve Kerr, and I know the hate wagon's going to be bad at Podziemski. He's shown flashes of greatness over his Warriors tenure, but it has just not been working out, and it is aggravating and frustrating to see him come out, miss those threes, not score in the first half. It is just really disheartening when you have all these types of players coming in. You have, a guy like DeAnthony Melton coming back from injury, where it has been a long time since he, has come out there and played. He showed a ton of fire. He showed a ton of fight out there in his battle out there for this team. Like, it is just disheartening. But you have so many guys playing with fight, playing with that fire, and then, Will Richard coming into these games and just having an impact out there for this team, for this group, right? 5 points, 2 assists. My software doesn't even have a picture of him. That's, how unnoted coming into the mix that he is amongst the casual NBA fan. You have Guy Santos coming out there and just giving some impact minutes, and all these guys are playing out of position. Right, Santos out there 6'7", feeling like running like a big man out there for this squad. That lineup of Melton, of Pat Spencer, of Santos, of Buddy Hield. I got to give some credit, give a shout out to Buddy Hield, because, I've been critical of him, his efficiency and stuff. Last night, even though it was still 2 of 7 from the three-point line, 6 of 12 shooting from the field, 14 points, 8 rebounds, was a dog out there, and actually putting an effort out there on the defensive end, right? As much as I've, been critical of Steve Kerr, some of his decisions, and Podziemski, again, a ton of run wall. We have all these guards. It's something to bring up. I was happy that the Warriors stuck with the lineup that got them there, stuck with the talent. That was hot. That was rolling to close off this game. It's a positive that they almost came back in what was just, felt like a demoralizing, heartbreaking game at the start of this thing. It was messy. It wasn't good. The Warriors lost to the 76ers 99-98. And, you made that push. You made that, run to bring it back out there for this team. But I don't know. It's just... it's aggravating to see those losses. And of course, we can blame the referees. We could take a look at this game and how things ended up working out and stuff. But realistically, the Warriors are going to struggle to play 48 solid minutes if you don't have a center. Of course, Horford's back in this game and stuff, but if you don't have reliable big men, then you can play game in, game out. That Steve Kerr trusts. And what also happens on top of it is you deal with injuries. Jimmy Butler's going to get hurt because he's playing up positions. Draymond Green should not be playing center game in, game out over the course of an 82-game season. And then you're going to have injuries like this pop up because Anthony Slater reported that Draymond Green is in a walking boot post-game, said Dominic Barlow, who landed on his right foot. Dominic Barlow landed on his right foot, and he heard it similar to when Donovan Clingan landed on it last week, but Draymond said that he hopes and expects to be playing through it. So him being in a walking boot is not encouraging, and given the Warriors' age, because there's still a bunch of guys, dogs, championship DNA out here in this roster, but when you have guys playing out of position, playing in the big man, like a level up where you're having to guard players that are bigger than you night in, night out, the risk of injuries is higher, which is not what you want from a team with the average age that the Golden State Warriors have, and you're just not getting the maximum value out there at a Draymond. Of course, he's one of the probably the best defender of all time, right? He's going to be able to guard centers, but you're not getting the true value of Draymond Green's defense if he's in that position. So the injury situation, the actual tangible talent, if this team was cooked, if this Warriors team was, outside looking into the play-in mix, but with all the injuries, with all of just the nonsense that this Warriors squad has been dealing with this year, to be the 8th seed in a loaded Western Conference and still be hovering around 500, you just gotta cash in on this. You haven't had Steph Curry. He's gonna be coming back to this team. The Warriors are a legit squad if they can just rebalance the roster, not have 500 players under 6'5" out there in their games, and forcing Steve Kerr to run these extremely small ball lineups, which had some success, but it's not going to be sustainable over an 82-game season. You're going to lose games, you're going to lose players to injury, and all that type of stuff. And we've brought up a ton of trade scenarios, players the Warriors could go after, how they can fix this roster balance, and we had another report drop regarding Zubac as Brett Siegel revealed that there have been mixed signals around the league from teams that have contacted the Clippers about Zubac, and if they are actually willing to discuss his name in trade talks. But early indication is that Los Angeles would demand at least 2 first-round picks, sources have said. Zubac has received the most interest out of any player of the Clippers entering December. Multiple Eastern and Western Conference teams in playoff positions have called Frank and Los Angeles to get info about the starting center. Again, I'm not saying Zubac is exactly the guy that you have to make trades for, that you have to make some justice for, but he's one of the best big man defenders in the entire NBA. You're averaging 16-12 this season, 2 assists out there for a big, which is pretty solid. You have 32 minutes per game. He's a guy that's very effective around the basket. He's just, he's not a floor spacing big man, which is some people want out of, but you have QP out there on the squad if you want to space the floor at that big man spot. I don't know. I think Zubac would just be perfect to anchor the defense. He's in DPOY conversations for a stretch last year for the LA Clippers. Just figure out something, whether it's Miles Turner, whether it's whoever the heck you end up going after. This team has shown promise. This team has shown fight, and there are a lot of guys that just deserve having a well-balanced roster, not be played out of position night in, night out. Figure it out, Mike Dunleavy, so we can have something to root for, to cheer for, to not feel like we're walking with, a hand tied behind our back. We're playing basketball with a hand tied behind your back, which is the case when you don't have true big man rotation, when you have so much talent out there at the guard spot. So, if you trade Jonathan Kuminga out there for Zub, maybe throwing a pick inside of it, whether it's for Miles Turner, whatever the heck it is, figure it out and figure it out fast so we don't risk more serious injuries to this team, so you don't dig yourself too much of a hole out there in, in this loaded Western Conference, especially with how things are going. You have a pretty intense schedule coming up over these coming weeks. You take a look at how things are going. You face the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been struggling as of late, the Bulls. Then, you have the Suns twice, the Orlando Magic, the Mavericks, the Raptors. All not easy games, but all games that will be battles, but winnable out there for the Golden State Warriors. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. You guys have best think as far as subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Again, we are on that road to 15,000 subscribers. If you made it this far, 9 minutes, 20 seconds out here in the video, make sure you guys hit that sub button. It means the absolute world to me. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.